Thanks for being with us here on Live Now from Fox. We do have some breaking news that we want to get to here on this Saturday. You may recognize her. She's a famous actress and producer there in Hollywood. Actress Diane Keaton has now died at the age of 79. This was first reported by People magazine. They released the statement online.
You'll never believe how Hollywood just lost one of its most original souls. On a quiet autumn morning, the news broke that left millions speechless. Diane Keaton, the Oscar-winning star of Annie Hall, had passed away at the age of 79. The world stopped for a moment. The woman who once made audiences laugh, cry, and fall in love with imperfection was suddenly gone. But what very few people knew was that behind her bright smile and playful spirit, Diane was silently fighting through her final days with quiet strength and dignity. She wasn't just a movie star. She was a symbol of individuality. Diane Keaton didn't follow Hollywood's rules. She created her own. She dressed how she wanted, spoke her truth, and built a career that spanned more than 5 decades. So when the news came that she had died peacefully after a sudden illness, fans around the world were left wondering what really happened in her last days and what she was truly going through behind the curtain. Those who were close to her say her health declined suddenly. She'd been battling bacterial pneumonia, a severe infection that often begins with something as simple as a cold or cough, but can quickly turn life-threatening. In her case, it came fast and strong. Her family said she fell ill just days before her passing, and though doctors tried everything, her body couldn't recover. The illness was short, but it took a toll. She lost her strength, her appetite, and even her usual spark. In the months before her death, Diane had quietly stepped away from the public eye. She had always been private, but lately her absence felt deeper. The once active actress, often seen walking her dog or laughing at small-town events, had become more reclusive. She spent most of her time at home, surrounded by her family, her memories, and the art she loved. Those close to her said she often talked about slowing down, enjoying quiet mornings with coffee, and reflecting on the simple joys of life. When emergency responders were called to her Los Angeles home that morning, it was already too late. The words "person down" echoed through the dispatch, and soon after, the heartbreaking news was confirmed. Diane Keaton was gone. Her family released a short, simple statement asking for privacy, saying she had passed peacefully and that her final days were spent surrounded by love. Fans flooded social media with memories, heartbreak, and gratitude. People from every generation shared their favorite lines, movie scenes, and quotes that had shaped their lives. To understand why Diane Keaton's death feels so heavy, you have to look back at who she was, not just as an actress, but as a woman who changed Hollywood. Born Diane Hall on January 5, 1946 in Los Angeles, she was raised in a middle-class home by creative parents. Her mother was a photographer and homemaker, her father a civil engineer. Young Diane was curious, a dreamer who wanted to see and feel everything. In her early years, she joined local theater, and though she wasn't the loudest or the prettiest girl on stage, she had something rare: presence. Her first big break came in the late 1960s when she joined the cast of the Broadway musical Hair. From there, fate stepped in. She met Woody Allen, a director and writer who saw something unusual in her, a mix of humor, intelligence, and awkward grace that couldn't be replicated. Together, they created magic. Their collaborations like Play It Again, Sam, and Love and Death led to the masterpiece that changed her life, Annie Hall. Annie Hall wasn't just a film, it was a cultural moment. Diane's character was charming, nervous, funny, and unapologetically herself. She wore men's ties, baggy pants, vests, and made them iconic. Women everywhere copied her style, and critics called her performance groundbreaking. In 1977, she won the Academy Award for Best Actress. But instead of basking in fame, she simply smiled and said, "This is something." That line became part of her charm. Humble, quirky, deeply human. Through the 1980s and 1990s, Diane Keaton continued to evolve. She wasn't afraid to age naturally in front of the camera, something rare in Hollywood. She played strong women in films like Reds, Baby Boom, Father of the Bride, and Something's Gotta Give. Every role carried a piece of her warmth, her self-doubt, her humor. She made audiences believe that beauty comes from personality, not perfection. She laughed at herself, embraced her wrinkles, and taught millions of women that growing older wasn't a curse. It was freedom. Her life outside the screen was equally interesting. Diane never married, despite her famous relationships with Al Pacino, Warren Beatty, and Woody Allen. She once said, "I love men, but I love my freedom more." Later in life, she adopted 2 children, Dexter and Duke. They became her world. In interviews, she said motherhood changed her completely, that she found purpose beyond fame. She spent her days cooking, reading, collecting old architecture photos, and renovating homes. By the 2010 Diane was not just an actress, she was a legend. Yet fame never consumed her. She often joked about her awkwardness, her fear of technology, and her obsession with hats. She remained quirky, grounded, and relatable, the rare celebrity who seemed genuinely herself. Her social media presence reflected that too. Playful captions, dog pictures, and a lot of laughter. But behind the jokes and smiles, her health was quietly declining. Friends noticed that in her final years, she became more tired. She canceled appearances, stayed home longer, and talked about slowing down for good. Still, nobody imagined she was seriously ill. Pneumonia often begins subtly, and for someone her age, it can worsen quickly. In March 2025, fans noticed something that hinted at change. She listed her Los Angeles home for sale. This was not just any house, it was her dream home, one she had designed and renovated herself with passion and care. Some friends believed she was preparing to simplify her life, maybe even move closer to her children. Others sensed something deeper, that she was quietly putting her affairs in order. Then, in early October, her condition worsened. Family members said she tried to fight it at home, refusing hospitalization at first, saying she just needed rest. But when her breathing became labored, they called for help. Despite emergency treatment, the infection had already spread too far. She passed away peacefully that morning, leaving behind 2 children, a lifetime of work, and an unfillable void in Hollywood. The reaction was immediate. Al Pacino, her former partner and Godfather co-star, called her a force of nature and said no one could ever match her energy. Bette Midler, Goldie Hawn, Jane Fonda, and countless others paid tribute to her uniqueness. Fans described her as the woman who made being different feel beautiful. She had that rare ability to make audiences laugh and think at the same time. Her voice, that slightly shaky, hesitant tone, carried honesty. Her characters weren't perfect. They were real. They doubted, fumbled, overthought, loved deeply, and failed bravely. And that's why people connected to her. Even as she aged, Diane refused to fade away. She continued to act, write, and share wisdom. In her later years, she published books filled with photographs and essays about love, art, and aging gracefully. She once wrote, "You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you look at it." That philosophy defined her final years. Quiet acceptance, calm reflection, and gratitude. The secret truth about Diane Keaton's final days isn't about hidden drama or mystery. It's about simplicity. She wasn't afraid of death. She was ready for peace. Those who saw her in her last weeks said she remained gentle, smiling, and full of warmth. She asked about her kids, her garden, her home. She spoke about old memories, about films she loved making, about moments that made her laugh. She knew time was short, but she didn't fear it. She just wanted love and calm around her. And that's exactly how she left this world. Diane's passing is a reminder that even the brightest stars fade quietly. There were no grand announcements, no cameras, no spectacle, just silence and gratitude. She had lived fully, loved deeply, and given everything to her art. And when the curtain finally closed, she slipped away like the gentle light at sunset. Her influence will live on forever. Generations of women found strength in her characters. Fashion designers still draw inspiration from her fearless style. Young actors still study her timing and subtle expressions. She proved that you don't have to shout to be heard, and you don't have to fit in to be loved. Today, as fans revisit her classic films, from Annie Hall to The Godfather, Something's Gotta Give, and The First Wives Club, they'll see more than an actress. They'll see a woman who dared to be herself, a woman who turned awkwardness into art, a woman who lived and left with grace. In the end, Diane Keaton's story isn't about tragedy, it's about legacy. She taught us that life isn't about being perfect, it's about being authentic. It's about laughter through tears, love through chaos, and art through imperfection. And even though she's gone, every film she touched still feels alive. Her laugh still echoes in living rooms, her energy still dances through screens, her voice still makes us feel like she's right there, reminding us that being yourself is the most beautiful thing you can be. So tonight, as we remember her, let's raise a quiet toast to Diane Keaton, the woman who redefined what it means to live boldly, love fiercely, and leave gracefully. Thank you, Diane, for giving us your heart, your humor, and your truth. And to everyone watching, if this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more stories like this, and share it with someone who loves the magic of movies. Because legends like Diane Keaton never truly die. They just live forever through the love they leave behind.